Hey there, friends, and welcome to this episode of Self Kind, a podcast for highly sensitive people, with me, your host, Erica Webb. I am a fellow highly sensitive person, autistic, ADHD, and I am also a registered counsellor, somatic exercise coach, and yoga teacher. And I'm coming to you rather, from a different place today because I wanted to be sitting near this giant Monstera plant that is in my yoga room. Because I want to talk a little bit today about the question that you might be asking that is leading you very much down the wrong path when it comes to healing, self-care, and self-love. And the reason for that is because the question that we so often ask ourselves as highly sensitive people who maybe feel a little different in the world, a world that is often insensitive to our needs, that question is often, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? What can I do to fix myself? And it really is the wrong question. Because when we ask the question of what is wrong with me, suddenly we are in a position where we need to shrink, dismiss, mask, get smaller. It really doesn't allow us to take up space, to thrive, to be who we truly are. And as I was thinking about this podcast episode, I was thinking about this plant. Now, if you're listening to me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere where there is just audio and no video, let me paint a picture for you. I have a rather large Monstera plant in my yoga room, and it's been growing for a number of years. It's probably not, actually all that big, but it is quite big and it's kind of unruly. And the post that I have, the pole that I have that holds it up, is no longer really adequate for its size. And so Monstera plants, they have, I think, what's called the big spine. I don't know if that's the technical term, probably not. But they have a big spine, and that's the part that really needs to be supported. And it's not really being very well supported at the moment. And so it's kind of flopping over and it's not really thriving. But if I asked what's wrong with this plant, I'd be asking the wrong question. Now, this plant has access to lots of things that it needs. I water it. It's got a big, beautiful window that lets in sunlight. It's in soil that obviously has some nutrients, I suppose, that it needs. I'm not really that. I'm not a horticulturalist by any means, but it has some of the things it needs, right? And one of the things that it needs is support for its structure to be able to continue to grow. And we're really no different. We really are no different. And yet, if I asked what's wrong with the Monstera, I'd be missing the point entirely. Likewise, if I ask what's wrong with me because I'm experiencing anxiety or depressive symptoms or feeling like I'm confused about my identity or confused about how I fit in the world or not sure what I want to do with my life, then I'm asking the wrong questions. Because like the plant, we need to be asking, what supports me? Not because I'm broken, but because if I'm not adequately supported, I can't thrive. And in some cases, right, like this plant, if I stopped watering it, if I closed the curtains and never let light in, if I, never fed it any of the nutrients that it needs, it wouldn't thrive at all. And in fact, it would suffer, right? And so again, we are no different. And so I wanted to point this out today, I guess, as a question that might be useful to reframe if you're finding yourself going down that path of asking, what is wrong with me? And look, I won't lie, that question pops into my head from time to time. What is wrong with me, right? Sometimes it feels that way because, sometimes it's a fair feeling. Often it's a fair feeling because things have happened to us that have caused, effects that are not comfortable. And yet, if we continue down the path of asking, what is wrong with me? We turn ourselves into the problem, and we just aren't. You are not a problem to be fixed. So when we switch our attention to what is it that I need to be supported, then we start looking in different places. And just like the plant, we can start with the really simple stuff. Am I being watered effectively? Have I got the nutrients that I need? Am I getting the rest and the daylight and the movement that I need? Some of the simplest but often the hardest things for us to to get, right? Because life is so busy and there are so many demands on our time, but sometimes we really do need to come back to the very bare minimum. Did I drink water today, right? Did I eat enough food? Did I move? Did I connect with someone? Did I, breathe in some air in the great outdoors? Sometimes we need to go back to those simple things. But other places that we can be looking is, is my self-talk supportive? Is it the equivalent of, a really sturdy moss pole that's helping me to maintain my structure, for want of a better term? Or is it the kind of self-talk that really makes me feel broken and not good enough? Am I surrounding myself with people who are supportive rather than destructive in my life? Am I setting my environment up in ways that support me, or could I make some changes? Is the lighting the kind of supportive lighting that I need? Do I have things in my space that bring me joy? Do I need to, advocate for somebody to turn the air conditioner off or on so that I can feel the way I need to feel? Or do I need to remember to pack a cardigan when I go into work because it's always freezing? Simple things like that can sometimes make a huge difference. I had an experience recently where I went to a conference and it was just so loud. And I took my earplugs, my loop earplugs, and it just transformed my day completely. And it was such a simple thing, but if I asked, I was sitting there with a really quite bad headache on day one, and if I had continued to say, well, what's wrong with me? I probably wouldn't have done anything to change the situation. Instead, it was the question of like, what might I need right now? And I put the earplugs in and my headache actually went away, which I was not expecting, but lovely side effect. But it causes us to ask different questions and look in different places when we are questioning what support might I need versus what is wrong with me. And as highly sensitive people, it's very easy to feel like something is wrong with you. It is, because it's complicated, right? Sometimes it's just downright uncomfortable. And so it is easy to lean on that idea of like, there must be something wrong with me, because when we look outside of ourselves, we don't always see other people having the same experiences as us. I didn't see anyone else in that room at that conference kind of putting earplugs in or feeling dysregulated, but it doesn't mean they weren't. It just means I didn't see it. And if I assumed that everybody else was fine and so therefore I should be too, I would have continued to suffer. Right? And kind of like if we bring it back to the plant, if I just assumed that the plant should be able to figure it out on its own, then I would, rip out the moss pole and I would stop watering it and I would not worry about whether it had any daylight. And then I would come back and I'd be like, well, what's wrong with the plant? Why isn't it growing? Why is it dying? Like, what's wrong with the plant? And it's like, the plant didn't get what it needed. So, you know, so I think it's a simple but quite profound shift in the way that we think about, what do I need? So I hope that's helpful today. Asking the question of what might it be that I need to be supported right now? Things that you can do yourself, but maybe even things that you need to ask for from other people or seek out in your environment, rather than being stuck on this idea of what is wrong with me. Yeah. I hope that helps. Please reach out if you have questions. I have got a little bit of a list going now of some questions that have come through, which I will be filming answers to. But I hope that gives you some food for thought. I hope that takes you another step down that path of self-kindness and compassion. Yeah, I'll be back soon. Take care.